यस्साक्षात् कुरुते प्रबोधसमये स्वात्मानमेवाद्वयं तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः। इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये बीजस्यान्तरिवाङ्कुरो जगदिदं प्राङ्निर्विकल्पं पुनः मायाकल्पितदेशकालकलना वैचित्रचित्रीकृतम् मायावीव विजृम्भयत्यपि महायोगी वयस्वेच्छया तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः। इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः। इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये। ॐ सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः। सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। ॐ भद्रं कर्णेभिः शृणुयाम देवाः भद्रं पश्येमाक्षभिर्यजत्राः स्थिरैरङ्गैः स्तुष्टुवागुंसस्तनूभिः व्यशेम देवहितं यदायुः। स्वस्ति न इन्द्रो वृद्धश्रवाः स्वस्ति नः पूषा विश्ववेदाः स्वस्ति नस्तार्क्ष्यो हरिष्ठनेमिः स्वस्ति नो बृहस्पतिर्दधातु। ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः। So the first mantra says, Om iti etadaksharam idagam sarvam tasyopavyakhyanam bhutam bhavat bhavishyaditi sarvam omkārah eva yacca anyatrikālātītam tadapi omkārah eva. And second mantra says, Sarvami etad brahma Ayam ātmā brahma Soyam Atma Chatushpat. So these first two mantras, in these first two mantras, the Upanishad introduces two types of enquiry, two types of analysis. And when we talk about an analysis in Vedanta, there is only one type of analysis, and that is called discriminative analysis. Vichāra. The word we use is a vichāra. It's a technical word. Vichāra does not mean a thinking or a thought. Vichāra means an analysis. An analysis here, it is a Viveka. Because there is a confusion. The whole issue with the human being is of confusion, born of ignorance. Confusion means what? Confusion means two things are taken as one. That's the thing. So one has to literally separate them cognitively. There is ultimately one thing alone. If there is one thing and you say you are confused and you are taking two as a one, ultimately you are going to teach us as a one, then where is confusion? Yeah. So we say first you separate two, and then one is Mithyā, understand? The second is satyam, and therefore satyam alone appears as a Mithyā. There cannot be Mithyā without satyam. What is Mithyā is satyam. So that is how it should be. So Ātma Viveka, that's called self-inquiry. Ātma-vichāra is equal to Viveka-vichāra. Every vichara here, every analysis what we are going to do, either is Omkāra-vichāra or it is Ātma-vichāra. It is ultimately this. So first mantra is a Omkāra-vichāra, analysis of Omkāra, which is introduced in the first mantra. Omkāra means what? Is a monosyllabic word. It has one syllable only. A syllable is made up of letters. Letters constitute syllable, syllable constitute the word. Like kamalam, right? Kamalam. So that's ka, complete ka is there, right? And that is made up of two letters. So a complete ka is called syllable, made up of two letters, kakara plus akara. That's a two letters. So letters is a building block. Letters constitute a syllable. Syllable ultimately combine together to make a word. So ka, ma, la, etc. So anyway, So my point is, but Swamiji, it is kamalam you are saying, yeah. So lakara plus is also a vowel, you know very well. That's all Panini, and let us leave it. So nasalize akara. So basically, Omkāra-vichāra is that which is Omkāra is a monosyllabic word. That is one. That is analyzed in the first mantra. The second mantra says talks about Ātma-vichāra, a self-inquiry, introduced in mantra number 2. So the actual inquiry on the self is between 3 to 7, but it is introduced in the mantra number 2. And where Omkāra means the analysis of Omkāra is introduced in the mantra number 1. Actual analysis on Omkāra is done between 8 to 12. So please understand me. So Omkāra analysis in first mantra, analysis of the self-inquiry is in the second. Then self-inquiry continues elaborately in 3 to 7. Then 8 to 12 again Upanishad picks up analysis of Omkāra. So this is how the arrangement is. That will be, and that's it. 12 mantras are over, so Upanishad is over. Then they're all karikas. So this is how the thing is. And now what is the meaning of mantra number 1? We have to see all this in short because we are starting classes again after a long time. So Upanishad says the Omkāra is this monosyllabic word. This word Omkāra is everything. So idagum sarvam iti etadaksharam. Om iti etadaksharam idam sarvam. So basically this Omkāra is everything. Everything in this creation. And a thorough analysis into Omkāra is going to be done in mantra number 8 to 12. So when Upanishad says Omkāra is everything, what is meant by everything? So Upanishad itself says, Tasya Omkārasya upavakhyanam. Well, we'll tell you. Omkāra is everything means what? Yaccha bhutam bhavat bhavishyad iti sarvam Omkāra. Everything is Omkāra means what is there in the present, what was there in the past, what will be there in the future is Omkāra. What is that? Everything is Omkāra. Means what? What is there in the present, what was there in the past, what will be there in the future is Omkāra. How, Swamiji? Mantra number 8 to 12. Okay. So this is how. So we have to wait for that. Anyway. And so this is all these inert objects, sentient living beings are all nothing but Omkāra. Taittiriya Upanishad also refers to Omkāra in a similar manner, briefly in a Śikṣāvallī. And it says, Omiti idagam sarvam, etc. So, Omiti idagam sarvam. Omkāra is everything, etc. All this is Omkāra alone. There it is for upāsanā. You know very well. Śikṣāvallī talks about various types of upāsanā. One of the upāsanā is a pranava upāsanā. So one should meditate upon Omkāra as Brahman, etc. That is where Śikṣāvallī Taittiriya Upanishad also talks about in 8th section, if you want to refer to. So anyway, so there is something called this ultimate, reality. Everything is Omkāra means that's a reality of what is present in time. So in all the 3 periods of time. And not only that, yaccha anyatrikālātītam tadapi Omkāra. And therefore, so what is not just what is there in the past, present and future, all sentient, insentient things is Omkāra, not that much. Whatever is beyond time also, means whatever is absolutely real. Beyond time means absolutely real. What is within time is relatively real. We call empirically real. That's it. So whatever is, so everything is Omkāra means whatever is there in these 3 periods of time and whatever is there which is beyond time. Well, that also is Omkāra. So within time, beyond time. So by analyzing Omkāra, we are analyzing everything. So the very precious syllable, Omkāra is very precious syllable in Kathopanishad, in a Praśna Upanishad, everywhere in Chandogya, even in a Brihadaranyaka, etc. Everywhere it has been mentioned like that. So Omkara is everything, and understanding Omkara amounts to understanding whatever is there within time and whatever is there beyond time. So Omkāra-vichāra. That will be done in mantra number 8 to 12. Then in the second mantra, first mantra is over, okay? In the second mantra, so another inquiry is introduced. So looking from another angle now. What will, looking from another angle what? This creation. One is from the stand, we look the entire creation which is within time, and the one which sustains this time, space and everything, well, that is Omkara. It's one way of looking. Now you look the same creation within time and what is beyond time from another angle. And that's from the standpoint of Brahman. So that's how it has been introduced. Sarvam hi etad Brahma. Earlier it was what? Idagum sarvam Omkara. Now here it says Sarvam hi etad Brahma. This is another way of looking. So all that is there and within time, we have to take now as it is. All that is there within time and what is beyond time is Brahman. So within time, whatever is there which is included in past, present and future. So Brahman is everything within time as well as beyond time. That Brahman will be analyzed. By analyzing this Brahman, we can analyze everything within time and which is beyond time. And that inquiry is also, Brahman inquiry is very precious. Then Upanishad itself says, what is that Brahman? What it says? Ayam Ātma Brahman. And therefore that Brahman which is everything within time and beyond time, that Brahman is myself. Ayam Ātma Brahman. Ayam stands for aparokṣa, which is immediate. What is immediate means you will not have any doubt now. That what is, not even you will take a thought also, your mind also. Because mind is not which is immediate. There is something which is immediate, which is closer even to the mind, which objectifies even the mind, is closer. And that is the I. I alone is one which is the closest, which is immediate. Mind is not immediate. Mind also comes and goes. That cannot be immediate thing. And therefore, anyway, so that Brahman is myself. Ayam. This aparokṣa, Atma alone is this Brahman. That Brahman is whatever was there in the past, what is there in the present, what will be there in the future, and what is even beyond time. That is that Brahman happens to be the self. I am Atma Brahma. And well, so now that Brahman inquiry, right, from this another standpoint, it was an inquiry on Brahman, but that Brahman inquiry happens to be the inquiry on the self. So second inquiry presented in the second mantra is Ātma-vichāra. Again, we have to remember discriminative analysis. Discriminative analysis. If it is not a discriminative analysis and just a simple inquiry, then you will immediately know. But you have to do something. Ātma Viveka has to be done in order to understand Atma as Brahman. That's what it means. And therefore, we are inquiring into the creation which is within time, beyond time, is ultimately inquiring into the self. Very important, please understand. Inquiry into this Jagat, inquiry into yourself, ultimately leads to inquiry into the self. Means what? The self is everything. Self is in the form of this one who is experiencing, and the self is one who is in the form of what is experienced. Yes, that's what it says. How? Everything is Brahman. Whatever is within time, past, present and future, sentient, insentient, everything. I am sentient being, experiencer. And what is experience which is insentient? Everything is this Brahman. Wow. No. That Brahman is yourself. Means you are the one who is in the form of an experiencer. Please understand, this is how it is going to be. You are in the form of an experiencer in a waking, in any state, and also a corresponding world which is experienced. That's what it means. And so the second inquiry is Ātma-vichāra. Mantra 1 presents Omkāra-vichāra, and Mantra 2 presents Ātma-vichāra. So, introducing this Ātma-vichāra in the Mantra 2, the first important message Upanishad gives is Atma, the self, is basically the self-enquiry should be like this. This is going to be presented in 3 to 7, but it is indicated here itself. So, sarvami etat brahma, ayam ātmā brahma, soyam ātmā chatushpat. Enquire into the self, which is nothing but everything, and which is beyond time also. What is within time and beyond time is yourself. But go like this, soyam ātmā chatushpat. And therefore, basically, this self has got 4 quarters, 4 parts, as though 4 aspects. And so, Omkāra-vichāra involves inquiry into the 4 components of the Atma ultimately, because everything is Om, within time, beyond time. Everything is self. Means ultimately, Omkāra-vichāra involves inquiry into the 4 components of Atma alone. So only when I inquire into the 4 parts of Atma, which is myself, will I know the truth of the entire creation, which is yourself. And so this will be analyzed in 3 to 7. In that, now I will give you, because we have completed even 5th mantra also, so I am going to give you the entire thing. Mantra 3 describes the Prathama Pada, first quarter of the Atma. So this is how you have to inquire. You have to start inquiry from the grossest part. Yeah. So, describe the first quarter. Mantra 4 describes the second quarter of the Atma. Mantra 5 and 6 describes the third quarter of the Atma. Mantra 7 describes the 4th quarter of the Atma. And regarding quarter, I have already told to you, and we will be seeing further also, that really it's not that this, the 4th also is like the 1/4 of the entire one thing alone. No, that's not. We have seen that, and when I introduced Mandukya Upanishad in the last class. So anyway, mantra 7 describes the 4th quarter. Before studying this mantra, we will now have to know this, because it involves this creation. Entire creation also is the self, etc. So this, as I told you in the last class regarding these 2 prakriyas, also the same thing. Like, in the Mandukya Upanishad or Aitareya Upanishad or the Upanishad, Taittiriya, etc. The whole thing is seen as a self, but little differently. Non-dual self, you can understand. When you say everything is self, means the duality which is there in everything, that duality seems to be Mithyā. Then only you can say everything is one self. Means the duality which you are experiencing must be Mithyā. To prove the duality Mithyā, well, they introduce a creation. They introduce a creation. That is how the style is generally in the Upanishad. It is a Taittiriya and other things, as I told you, Mundaka, etc. So, and Aitareya also. There, the creation is introduced. That's how I talked about the Srushti Drishtivada also. So, the Srushti means a creation. So, you say there is a creation, means you are accepting it, that there is creation. But then, what is the cause of the creation? And then you introduce the Ishvara as the cause. Same Brahman with a creative power. You have to say, when you say creation, there should be a creative power. Brahman is without any power. So you imagine a upadhi called a power, a creative power. Along with that creative power, the Brahman becomes a creator. And definitely Brahman creates out of himself, etc. So that is we call Ishvara, Brahman with this power, Maya. So therefore Ishvara alone appears in the form of this Jagat. All this Jagat was there as unmanifest, that is called power, creative power. And therefore so whatever is there is this whatever the Jagat which you are experiencing, and the body, mind, sense complex through which you experience as experiencer also is a part of creation, and therefore everything is Ishvara. That is how Srushti Drishtivada has a little more objective approach, naturally, because you look upon everything as a Ishvara. So subjectivity is reduced to a large extent. And then you equate that Ishvara as the very self. So Ishvara is introduced, right? And you say Ishvara from one standpoint, and you say yourself a Jiva from another standpoint. from different upadhis. So from the standpoint of a Veshti, Ajnanam, etc., Karana, Sharira, same Brahman is the Jiva, the created. Created means, basically Jiva is not created, but the Jiva got the body, subtle body and a gross body. That's called creation. Anyway, so Jiva is created and Ishvara is a creator. So one Brahman through different upadhis. Maya upadhi, creator. This Ajnana, Samashti Ajnana upadhi, creator. Veshti Ajnana upadhi, I am using a word of the Vedanta Sara. This upadhi has been introduced as a Veshti Ajnanam and Samashti Ajnanam. Maya and Avidya, either way, whatever you say. So that is how created creator division is ultimately through upadhi. Upadhi is Mithyā, and therefore the division between Jiva and Ishvara also is Mithyā. What is there really is a Brahman alone, and therefore whatever is there is Brahman, or whatever is there is self. This is how Srishti, Drishti, Prakriya ultimately leads to the non-dual Brahman, non-dual self. This is how it is in the Taittiriya, in the Aitareya, in the Mundaka. Mandukya has a different approach. So there the creation is introduced, creation is Mithya and everything, as I told you. That is fine. Here it's a different prakriya. Here also ultimately you want to say everything is self or everything is Brahman. Same thing you have to say. That's how it says, Sarvami etad Brahma, Ayam Ātma Brahma. All that is there within time and which is beyond time is Brahman, non-dual, naturally, non-dual. And that is the Atma. So Atma is non-dual. Then what about everything, this multiplicity? So many jivas and so many objects in the creation and all. Again you have to prove what? Mithyā. So now, but you don't go introducing the creation and creator, and then the creator and created are one alone ultimately. The difference is in terms of upadhi. No. Mandukya has altogether a different approach to prove everything as Mithyā. And that is like a Drishti Srishti Vada. You have to modify it. I did it, and today I am going to clarify a little more. I could not clarify as much as I wanted last time, but I will clarify today. Don't worry. So that is a different approach to prove. Ultimately, you want to prove everything is one thing alone, either Atma or Brahman. Therefore, whatever duality is there should be Mithyā. That should be the approach. And therefore, here if you don't introduce the creation and creator and all that, creation as such is not introduced, then how to prove that everything is Mithyā? That's an easier approach. Karya, Karana, Prakriya. Naturally, you understand Karyam is always Mithyā, Karana, Satyam, etc. But here it's a different approach. And that approach is, the world is Mithyā because not it is created. See, here itself it makes a difference. Because we are experiencing it. That's it. So, whatever you experience is Mithyā. Because you experience it. If everything experiences Mithyā, what is satyam? Well, that which is never experienced is satyam. That which is never experienced is satyam. Which is never experienced is non-existence, we say. What is never experienced is non-existent. No. What is experienced is Mithyā, and what is never available for the experience, which need not be experienced, is the experiencer. Experiencer can never be experienced. Experiencer need not be experienced because why need not be experienced? Because if experiencer is not there, where is experience? Where is object of experience? So you need not have to prove your existence. The fact that you are able to see me proves that you are there as experiencer, naturally. And therefore experiencer need not be experienced. Experiencer can't be experienced. So experiencer is satyam. What is experienced is Mithyā. We have to modify a lot. This is not that simple. The very first drawback is if a given thing, if I don't experience, means it is not there? No. We'll have to modify. So Drishti Srushti Vada has a lot of issue also. Two doshas I already explained you that I will remind you little later. So the experiencer is the one which need not be experienced. You need not have to prove the existence of the experiencer, but what is experienced there, by that only the world is proven existent. If you don't experience at all, well, there is no existence of the world. Take it like that. It is not true, but take it like that right now. So what is experienced? Well, definitely is Mithyā. Its existence is Mithyā means its existence depend upon the experiencer. Experiencer is self-existent. Okay? So this is how we have to see that. So I, the knower, is satyam, or I, the experiencer, is satyam, and every other thing is Mithyā because it is experienced. Okay. And how this conclusion is reached? That's true, that's the approach in Mandukya, but how this conclusion is reached? The reasoning given by Shankaracharya ji is like this, that if you have to prove the existence of an object, it must be a known object. You can never talk about the existence of an unknown object. So the moment you talk about the existence of an object, then it is already known. So existence of an object can be proved only when it is known for someone or the other. And what that someone is what? Experiencer, the knower. So if there is something that can never be known by anyone at any time, that object comes under non-existent category. Like, do I have a horn or not? You are not able to experience, right? Neither you, neither anyone experiences a horn on my head at any time, at any place, by anybody. Therefore, the horn on Swami's head is non-existent. Okay? But it doesn't say, it is not that you are non-existent. You don't experience a thing. Anyway, so if nobody experiences horn, the conclusion is, I don't have a horn. So existence of an object is proven only when it is knowable. Okay? When it is knowable. So being knowable in this is the criteria to prove the existence of anything. Existence depend upon being knowable. Existence requires knowability. And anything becomes knowable only when there is a knower. So knower I is the subject. So Vedanta concludes that the subject knower proves the existence of every object. Could you follow now Drishti Srushti Vada? So just because I am there, therefore the world is. Like that. So existence of an object depends upon the subject. So subject I alone lends to existence to all the objects in the creation. We have to modify this. See, word knower conveys the action of knowing. You say the knower proves the existence of the world which is known. I know Swami right now, I am seeing Swami, and therefore Swami is. But I need not have to prove my existence. I am existent, but since I see you, therefore you exist. Could you follow? This is what it is. But this is not true. We have to go into that. The word knower conveys an action of knowing. ER indicates, that suffix ER indicates an agent of an action. Runner, right? Teacher, etc., etc. Walker. Well, so walker means one who does an action of walking. teacher, one who does an action of teaching. Runner, who runs, who does an action of running. Therefore, knower also conveys the action of knowing. I, the subject, the knower, conveys the action of knowing. And if it is an action, there is a modification. So real, what Shastra wants to convey is the I, the subject, is free from modification. Because what is under modification, that is within time. And therefore, like, let me before I go further. Knower, why, how can you say, Swamiji, the knower is definitely under modification, which is time bound? Very true. Knower is a generic term. Right now you are a knower generically, but specifically you are seer. Right? You are seer. The seer is not a modification, it is modification. If I close the eyes, where is seer? And you are seer, hearer, etc., etc. Then suppose your eyes are here, but you have a flower in your table, and suddenly you feel like that, let me just smell. So you smell like that. That moment you are not a seer. That moment you are a smeller. Modification. Various modifications occur. So therefore, definitely knower is under modification, which is time bound. What Shastra wants to convey is ultimately the Atma is which is within time and what is beyond time. Everything. Therefore, I, the knower, which is under modification, which is time bound, which is momentary. A seer is a momentary when there is something to see. When there is nothing to see, where is the seer? Please understand this. So I, the subject, is the reality and everything, drishti srishti vada, will have to modify it, which I of course modified, but perhaps you might not have understood. Perhaps. So anyway, so Shastra wants to convey I am a timeless entity, which is beyond time also. Anyway, so real I is free from modification, free from action of knowing, nishkriya. So then what? I'm not a karta, etc. So then what is it that Atma does? Well, it is not doing anything. If Atma is not doing anything and you say I am the knower and everything is known and thereby its existence is proven, I lend the existence to them and all that, but I, the knower itself, is ultimately, if such a undergone modification, therefore how can it lend existence to something else where itself is, whose existence is time bound? The seer is whose existence is time bound. The hearer is existence is time bound. It's not there even in deep sleep state. Even in a waking state it undergoes modification. Seer, hearer, smeller, etc. Constant modification. And therefore, which itself is time bound, which itself whose existence is not a self-existent thing, how can it lend existence to the entire objects of experience, etc. Therefore, the I am not a knower, which does an action of knowing. Okay. Then what should be the I? It should be free from any modification. To be free from modification, it should not be doing anything. Doing anything means modification. Very action. It starts from the sankalpa itself. Let me see, become seer. Let me hear, become hearer. Let me smell, become smeller. So anyway, real I, the subject, should be free from any modification, should not be doing anything. Atma must be of the nature of existence. Atma is. So, but then you will say what? What will you say, Swami? Atma exists. Again you have used the verb. Again some action. Then you should not use the verb. Verb denotes action. Therefore you say Atma exists. It must be doing something in order to exist. Like right now I am doing a lot of things in order for my survival. So Atma also Please understand, Atma also must be doing something at least to exist, may not be doing something else. Everything else. No. So how to remove it? Only we can remove it by, to avoid this, well, to avoid the use of verb exist, well, we say Atma is denoted by the another noun, existence, called Sat. Not Atma exist. Atma is of the nature of existence. Atma means existence. You can say even synonym. Atma, which experiences everything, which is of the nature of consciousness, is also of the nature of existence. Consciousness is one which exists. Everything exists on its account. Anyway, so to negate all modifications, including the modification involved in the action of knowing, etc., Atma is defined as a Sākṣī. I, the subject, is a Sākṣī, not knower. We'll come to that, about knower. I will make a difference. Swamiji, Sākṣī also knows. Yeah, correct. So, Atma is a changeless Sākṣī. Changeless Sākṣī. In my presence, the inert mind, please understand, in my presence, the inert mind gets illumined, revealed, and its revelation is not a job on my part, the real I, the Sākṣī. In my presence, mind gets the capacity to reveal itself, because the mind gets a chidābhāsa. And such a mind with a chidābhāsa becomes the knower, which is changing knower. The seer, hearer is nothing but this mind which undergoes a modification. And mind along with the chidābhāsa. That chidābhāsa is due to the I, the Sākṣī. And that I don't illumine the mind. I don't land chidābhāsa to the mind. In my presence, I being consciousness which is ever present, which is of the nature of existence, the mind automatically gets illumined, revealed, and because of its nature has gained a chidābhāsa. Such a mind with the chidābhāsa becomes a changing knower, seer, hearer, etc. What undergoes modification is this mind, the ahaṅkāra. Okay? So there is a I thought with this chidābhāsa naturally, called ahaṅkāra, pramāta, the knower. So just as a moon gets the reflection of the sun without the will of the sun, same way I am the Sākṣī like a sun, without any will, effort on my part, the mind which is non-separate from me gets illumined, has a chidābhāsa, and becomes a knower for the world. I illumine the world, I illumine the mind, I illumine the ahaṅkāra, and the ahaṅkāra illumines the world through the senses. So this is how it is. Anyway, so the mind gets capacity, definitely. So the moon gets reflection of the sun without the will of the sun. Same way the mind also is like a moon, gets a capacity simultaneously to know the world. Just as the sun basically without will on its part illumines the moon without will. Because of the sun is a self-shining principle, in its presence the moon gets automatically illumined, and that such a moon illumines the world. So now moon illumines the world. We say even also that it is a very bright moon. There is nothing called bright moon. There is nothing called bright moon. Even though you experience a bright moon, but there is really, in reality, there is no bright moon. Therefore, even though the whole world is illumined by the ahaṅkāra, looks a very conscious entity, but it is really not by nature conscious entity. Even ahaṅkāra is nothing but just a mind, is inert. Please understand this, because we have to see the chatushpat, where we have to see even ahaṅkāra as an ātmā. Ahaṅkāra is also an ātmā, just mind only. Anyway, and so, but not knowing. Before exposure to Vedanta, we are not aware that there are two knowers. One is a non-changing knower called Sākṣī, which is me really. And there is another knower in terms of mind, which is changing, not knowing the difference between the two, not doing a Viveka between the two because of the ignorance of myself as really the Sākṣī, a non-willing principle. Well, I take the ahaṅkāra as the real, because both are conscious. One is really by nature consciousness, other is on the account of consciousness has become conscious. And therefore I take ahaṅkāra, the individual, as the self, and that's called confusion. So you have to do a Viveka between these two, between anātma and Atma. Atma is a Sākṣī, which happens to be Brahman, which is free from any kind of modification, which is free from any upadhi, etc., mind, body, senses, etc. So it is just a pure consciousness which has no dimension. That is the Atma, that is equated with the Brahman in the second mantra, Ayam Ātma Brahma, which is non-dual, without which nothing is proven existent. Nothing is proven existent. In fact, because of the I, the Sākṣī, there is a knower and there is a known. Knower and known, the world and the knower, both are non-separate from I, right? So Swamiji, but knower illumines the world, that's true. But knower also can illumine the being conscious. Ultimately, I lend consciousness to the mind, because of which it illumines the world. Therefore, I am the subject, the knower, and the world which is known or experienced. I prove, I am self-existent, and the world is basically, world derives its existence from me, world is Mithyā, that's true, but which I? No, knower. No, specify. Knower which is non-changing. Sākṣī, yeah. Otherwise, the other knower is a time-bound entity, ahaṅkāra. Itself is a time-bound. When there is nothing to be known, there is no knower also. When there is nothing to be heard, there is no hearer. There is no hearer. In fact, if I just close my ears, I am no more a hearer. So when I close my eyes, I am no more a seer. But still I is there. So I am a seer, it's true. I am not seer is also equally true. Yeah. When seer is not there, I am still there. Therefore, I am not a seer. What is that I? That is the Sākṣī, which illumines even ahaṅkāra, which proves the existence of ahaṅkāra, which proves the absence of ahaṅkāra also, seer, hearer, etc., which lights up absence or presence of ahaṅkāra also. Therefore, knower known, seer seen, experienced experiencer, hearer heard, all that is rooted in one thing, that is this consciousness, Sākṣī or Brahman. So if I am knower, everything is known, that is Mithyā, I am satyam, but we should understand that knower is Sākṣī. Sākṣī alone is the knower. That's a real knower. Without doing an action of knowing. I am the knower. Then why do you call knower? What can we say then? What can we say? These are all the words we have to explain it. And we will have to withdraw from that. Yato vacho nivartante aprapya manasa saha. No word can be used for Atma. No word, even including Atma also. Because Atma means self. Then there is something called non-self, anātma. When you say Brahman, then Brahman means which is limitless. Means there is something called limited, which is Mithyā, the world, etc. Therefore, you will have to use the word, explain what is there, and then you should say, well, Atma is not available for Atma cannot be illumined, revealed by any words. Yato vacho nivartante. aprapya cannot be even objectified because it is of the nature of the very self. Self is something which can never be objectified, right? What is never available for objectification is the subject, real subject, Sākṣī. So therefore, the I am knower, everything is known, etc. Drishti Shushti Vada, and knower proves existence of known, etc. But it's a loose term. Knower is a loose term. We have to see further, do such homework. Understanding Atma is the very Sākṣī, a non-changing knower, if you want to say, well, which there is no will or effort on my part to illumine the mind and through the mind to the entire world. There is no will. I am of the nature of self-revealing, self-shining, self-existing principle. That's it. Okay, so this is ultimately this Atma is going to be understood ultimately through these 4 quarters. Anyway, so the Mandukya Upanishad divides this now entire experienced universe into 3 segments. First, 4th is a reality, turīya, etc. But that we'll see later. First is a Waker's universe, which includes, means now you can understand very well, the Sākṣī Atma is the very basis of ahaṅkāra and basis of even the world also. Sākṣī alone proves that without consciousness ahaṅkāra is not proven, or the world is also not proven. So associated with the body mind sense complex and the world, well, it proves the existence of a given state of the experience. So that experience itself is possible. Waking state, let us say. A waking state experience is possible in which there is a waker and the waking world. Both of them, something becomes an object of experience, something becomes an experiencer. All that is there on account of Atma. Atma, well, definitely, or the consciousness, that alone proves the existence of both the waker and the waking world. Associated with that only, because Mithyā, therefore associated with that only, they are proven existent. So first, if Atma should be understood as the waking state. Waking state means Atma should be understood as associated with the waker, and Atma should be associated as the waking world. That is the waking state. First quarter. Then Atma is associated with the dream universe, and which includes dream body and so dreamer and dream experiencer and the very dream world, the experienced, etc. And this wakers, the wakers, I would not say waker, what is available in the waking world, the waker and the waking world will be not available in a dream state. So what is obtained in a dream state as a dreamer and the dream world is not available in the waking world. Therefore, they are mutually exclusive. Waker and waking world, which obtains in a waking state, they are not available in the dream state. So as a dreamer and the dream objects, and so definitely they are mutually exclusive, and both are, that's one. Second thing is both are experienced. I am a waker also, I know right now, and I am as a waker I experience the waking world, that also I know. So basically I, the Sākṣī, is the one who is a real knower or experiencer, if you want to say, whereas what is obtained in the waking state, both are objects of experience for me. So I, the Sākṣī, which is present in a waking state in the form of a waker and waking world, right? So that is Mithyā. That's how it is Mithyā, because they are, that's how we started. What is experienced is Mithyā. The very experiencer is satyam. But then I said experiencer means what? Well, experiencer means right now, Swamiji, I am seeing you. I have a experience of a sight. I am seeing you. You are object of sight. And I am a seer. I am reality. I lend existence to you. Wrong. The seer also is definitely a temporary entity. When there is object of sight, there is a seer. If it is not there, seer is not there. Then there is someone who is behind that seer, which is right there. When the seer is not there, object of sight also is not there. That's a basis. Please understand. So I am the Sākṣī is the basis for the seer and the sight. Hear and heard. So in a waking state, now same I becomes a dreamer associated with the dream body. Same I associated with this physical body, waker's body, if you want to say, this physical body, identifying with this, associated means identifying with this, becomes a waker and also becomes a waking world. What becomes both? That Sākṣī. Please understand. Sākṣī. That is first quarter. Second quarter is this dream. Associated with the dream body, identify with the dream body, becomes dreamer, and also the dream objects is nothing but the same Sākṣī Atma. Second quarter. Then the third quarter is that when these wakers and the dreams universe are not experienced, must contain them in a potential form. Where they have gone, this dream world and the waking world and the waker and dreamer, where they have gone? No, they have not gone anywhere. They are in a potential state. They are there. They are there in a potential state, like a mango tree is there in a potential state in a seed. From there only it comes. Same way, in a potential state, in a deep sleep state, they are very much there, and they from there only in the waking state they appear. Waker and the waking universe, the dreamer and dream universe, everything ultimately remains in a potential state, in a deep sleep state, which we call as a causal universe. That's a third quarter of the Atma. To appear as a deep sleeper and a causal universe, potential universe, etc. All this which you are experiencing in waking, they don't get destroyed. Swamiji, I don't agree that in a deep sleep state there is no world at all. I don't. So it's a loose term. They are there in a potential state. They are there in potential state. From there only they appear. Since they appear from the deep sleep state, they are there in a deep sleep state as a potential universe. So like that, the mango tree appears from the same seed, mango seed only, from no other seed. Therefore, it must be present there in a potential state. So the waking state universe, dream state universe, and this causal universe is Mithyā. And that universe means you should understand the waker and the waking world is a waking universe. It is nothing but a first quarter of the Atma. I am the one who alone appear in the form of a waker in the waking universe. It's a prathama pada. The Sākṣī, please understand, just pure consciousness. Pure consciousness. Now the knower idea, you please remove it. Non-changing knower, etc. if you want to say. And the same way, the dreamer and the dream world, deep sleeper and the potential world, causal world, ultimately all are these are the three quarters of the Atma. So this is what has been said. So even though I am one, well, the Upanishad tells me I am the consciousness, the ultimate knower, the Sākṣī, the non-changing knower. I get three different names based on my relationship with these three observed universes. So waking universe is there, waking world is there, I am called waker. I, the Atma alone, is called waker. So just as one person is called the father, husband and son, depending on the relationship, well, with the son, wife and father, etc. So I, basically the Sākṣī, am given these three different names. So I alone appear as the prathama pada, I alone appear as the Dvitiya Pada and I alone appear as the third Pada. And therefore, I am basically free from all the three. I am present in all the three. Whatever is there in this universe, waking universe, whatever is there which is within time bound, that is also me. Whatever is there in the dream world, that is also me. Whatever is there in the potential world, that is also me. So I am immanently present in all the three, right? I am immanently present in all the three. I lend existence to everything. At the same time, I am free from everything. I am beyond time. Yachat trikālātītam tadapi ahameva. Whatever is there within time, which is the universe. Within time means what, Swamiji? Viveka is definitely time bound. Waking universe is time bound. It goes away, exclusive, mutually exclusive. This world is not available in a dream. This Viveka is not available in a dream. All time bound. So ultimately, whatever is there in time bound, that's me, definitely. But I am really speaking from my own standpoint. I am just pure consciousness, beyond time. So whatever is there is me alone. Whatever is there is Omkāra alone. Omkāra has also, three matras, and fourth is the amātra. Akāra, ukara, makara, indicating three states. And amātra indicates that reality, the turīya. So whatever is there is Omkāra, or whatever is there is Brahman, or whatever is there is the self. The Sākṣī happens to be the Brahman. There is nothing, there is no difference at all. Therefore, this is how this has been. So these are the first 3 quarters of the Atma has been said, and then 4th quarter is a turīya, which we have to see. Anyway, so I think this is regarding the first 2 mantras, and now 3 to 7, as I told you, will describe third mantra will describe the prathama pada. There are certain characteristics of that prathama pada by which you can say this is a waking state. Then the dvitiya pada, that is a dream state. So there are certain characteristics of the dream state, dream universe, etc. And then deep sleeper also has a certain things. So that is being described between 3, 4 and 5th. 5th and 6th both indicate that deep sleep state, third pada. The 7th mantra talks about the 4th pada, turīya. So that is how it has been going to be. We'll see that from 3rd pada onwards. Very shortly we will see. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.